Hey everybody, welcome to the Faith and Fandom podcast. I am coming to you live from the floor of HeroesCon 2023. My daughter Bella is with me.
Hello.
And we're in the last hour or so of the show. So we thought we'd go ahead and get some of this knocked out because we have to drive straight from here to Lumberton, sleep for like 5 hours, and then drive to Orlando for a week. So wanted to kind of be as productive as possible. So just kind of going over the show for the Artist Alley Aftermath for HeroesCon 2023. And so for just logistics of understanding where we're at, we start our show journey for this show on Thursdays. And we come up on Thursday and set up our booth just so we're not in a rush, because it's a lot of ground and grind to cover with that. And then we have shows Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And averaging about 9 hours a day, except for Sunday, which is about 8. But they're long days. They're hard days. They're good days. But anytime you're in a subterranean nerd dungeon long enough, it gets old. It gets exhausting. You can tell that people are kind of wearing thin at this point in the show. So I want to go ahead and kind of kick off and cover some stuff and talk about it. First off, whenever you're thinking about con prices and the prices of booth fees and all that stuff, I don't think about parking enough. I really think the first time I thought of this, about how much parking costs, is when we were doing GalaxyCon Richmond, and I was telling Ashley from Fangirling Over Jesus about parking, and I realized, it was going to cost her a bunch of money to park. It now effectively costs $80 to just park for HeroesCon, for parking Thursday, Friday, and Saturday and Sunday at the closest, most convenient, most accessible parking lot, which is still a journey. It's the green parking lot. It's across the street from the show, sort of. It's still a bear to get through, but it's not hard. But parking is a beast, and so make sure, if you're a vendor, if you're an artist or whatever, factor in your parking into your costs, because that legitimately is a factor. The cool thing with our booth this time, for the first time, it's the first time we did a double candle shelf. I've thought about it plenty of times, but it's a 2-tier cube, basically, that we've made for candles, because I made too many candles and I didn't think about it. And the tables at HeroesCon are about 2 to 4 inches not wide enough, or girthy enough, whatever. They're long, but they're not deep. And so it doesn't hold as much space. So that was a cool design. I think I'll continue to do that as long as I have the time and ability, but I think it would look better on an 8-foot table, so it's not like directly in front of us, but whatever. Setup was pretty decent Thursday. We had time, which made it nice, and half of the struggle was just figuring out what we're doing these candles. Do you have any thoughts or beef or concerns with setup?
No, not really.
Yeah. Bella helped me set up last year, so it's, a little more par for the course, understanding what we're doing with that. Setup was cool, and after we did setup, we went back to our hotel, and as I'll admit, this wasn't the best hotel choice we've made. It wasn't the worst either. The hotel was okay. The concern is that just the neighborhood sucked. And if this hotel would have had at least like a little safer 2-block radius, it wouldn't have been a bad hotel. Richmond, the Super 8 in Richmond, I think still holds the absolute worst hotel I've ever experienced. And with Rosa and 2022, I think, might be the worst hotel I've ever experienced. We did our hotel. We got some cookout, which wasn't, plan A for food or anything, but it was worth it because we were hungry. And then we went to the Marvel exhibit. And If you've seen advertisements or anything for it, Discovery Place in Charlotte, North Carolina is hosting a Marvel exhibit until September. It's got costumes from the movies and shows, original pages of art from different comics from generations deep. It's also got some cool statues and artwork, and I'd really been wanting to do this, and honestly, taking my whole family, it would be probably too expensive to do. But just the two of us made it fun. I also thought of coming by myself, but then, that's not fun either. So Bella and I went and did that, and I had a ball with it. My favorite thing is probably the Ben Grimm statue on the couch, which is, I think that's what sold me on going. I really did also enjoy the Daredevil stuff. It was neat. The WandaVision exhibit was pretty cool. I feel like it's a little bit light on the Spider-Verse side. It's there, it's present, but it's still a little bit light.
Those are
So, but yeah, I had a good time at the Marvel experience. If you're a hardcore Marvel fan and you want to see statues up close or costumes or stuff like that, make sure you check it out. It is pricey. The cheapest admission is $35 if you do the 5 to 9 admission, or it's like $45 if you go during the day. What do you feel about the Marvel thing? Anything?
I think it was a lot of fun. I liked seeing the Guardians of the Galaxy costumes and voting on who your favorite was.
Oh yeah, there's a little section where you could vote on who is your favorite superhero, and it kept a tally of the day for that. And both of ours were like in the lower percentile. I chose Hulk and she chose Star-Lord, and they were both lower. What else? Anything Marvel?
I just liked that the rule was that you cannot kiss the Spider-Man statue.
Yeah, so the first thing we were told when we walked in, when we got the warning, was like, no flash photography, something else, and don't kiss Spider-Man, which immediately prompted me to want to at least make a picture looking like I was going to kiss Spider-Man. But that was literally a verbally expressed, repetitive rule, is don't kiss Spider-Man, which is pretty neat. So we did the Marvel exhibit. It was a good life experience. It really only took about an hour. And then we started to head home, or to the hotel. And we ended up going to... We saw this place as we were passing by. I think we might have seen it on the way in and on the way out. There's this place that looked like a compound slash... I don't know. Like, what'd you say? It looked like some warehouses. But like me being the tired person that I was and old, I was just going to go back to our hotel and lay on the bed and watch The Office and play Zelda. But Bella, being the wonderful adventure encourager that she is, suggested we turn in. And we pulled in the parking lot. As we drove through, we saw a lot of cool stuff. We saw coffee shops, and that's mainly what I wanted, was coffee. We saw exercise stuff, crafty, creative stuff. We saw people walking around with like yard chairs and stuff, and honestly, it gave me culty vibes. Like, I was like, and we both had this thought of like, we don't belong here. Why are we here? We're gonna get in trouble for being here. And what was your feeling?
I thought that this was like you had to pay to get in, and there were all these people with lawn chairs on railroad tracks, and it felt off.
Yeah, it felt a little too cool, and like we weren't cool enough to be there, I think was my vibe. But we went, and it was just a cool outdoor experience. There was also some good indoor stuff as well. I liked it. So the aesthetic there was really strong and cool. There was paintings of Andre 3000. There were some really cool robots riding weird animals. I mean, it just had this an eclectic hipster circus vibe. I think it was a good thing. And we went to this coffee shop, and the coffee shop was like pristine and cool. But one of the things is they turned an old sauna room into a sitting area where it was like looked like a library sauna. So that was really neat. And I was as giddy as could be just to sit there and drink my iced Americano and be happy for a cold coffee, sitting in a very feng shui lounge area. How'd you like the coffee shop?
I thought it was nice. I mean, I tried to read a book, but they were all boring and big, and the coffee was nice, though.
And the lady that was working there, she was pretty cool and chill as well. And then they also sold wine there. So all of a sudden it looked like an entire bridal party or reboot of Sex and the City or something. Like a whole bunch of like 25 to 30-year-old women were coming in to buy like large quantities of wine. And so it was just like, what a vibe. Then there was a ice cream shop across the way called
Something overzealous.
Seemingly Overzealous. And I just loved that. You know, I took a picture. I think that's currently my Facebook profile, is because that very much describes me in many cases of life. And but then we got in there, and the ice cream flavors, they had like stickers for emojis and feelings that were unique and creative. They had a tote to carry emotional baggage, and a lot of their stuff would say "so ... and whatever, and that's, you know, it fits in context of the sentence, but it's also literally saying the name of the business. So SO is seemingly overzealous. So I was like, that's cool. That's really smart marketing. I ended up getting an Earl Grey tea, ice cream, and a and Bella's over here making gag faces because I made her try it, and a really rich coffee ice cream. And then the nice lady's like, do you want a waffle chip in that? And I'm like, you could have, you know, made me feel like I'm royalty by offering a waffle chip in anything, like macaroni and cheese, whatever, man. Just offer me a waffle chip and I'm down. How did you like Seemingly Overzealous?
Well, the ice cream was delicious, and they had this coloring book where if you flip the timer for 3 minutes, that's how long you got to color, and it had a bunch of people's drawings and coloring books and everything, and the stickers were honestly just really cool.
One of the other things that was really neat about Seemingly Overzealous is their spoons were these chunky, long wooden spoons, and it said on the handle, "So can I be the little spoon?" And with a question mark. And, you know, I'm childish, so that just made me giggle. And yeah, it was a good experience overall. We got our ice cream, and we got that, and we walked around. We enjoyed the artistic stuff. We checked out the nature, and I mean, it was just a good experience. And I just genuinely delighted to be there. And I feel like that was one of just the most fun parts of the whole weekend, was going to that and just experiencing that. And it was a detour that turned into something really fun and beautiful, and really did appreciate that. So yeah, anything else for camp area? Huh?
You mean North End?
No, yeah, Camp North End. Yeah, that.
Boba popsicles.
Say that again.
It was closed at the time, but there was a shop with boba popsicles that looked delicious.
Yeah, so they had boba popsicles. That's pretty cool. So we went back to the hotel. We watched The Office and went to sleep, and kicked off day one. Got in there, got set up, and a couple things just want to say real quick. I'm going to say this moderately quietly. If I need to turn the microphone up later, or just lean into your ears real quick. We also had the fun experience of our booth this year is directly across from two different exhibitors who are basically selling pinups and pornish type art of pop culture characters and macabre stuff. And peaches. Peaches. So one of, like, I don't want to be graphic because I know it's not, I don't want to be graphic, but literally one of the prints that's hanging directly in front of our booth is a undressed Princess Peach sitting on a Goomba in a inappropriate manner. And so, you know, there's us right across from this inappropriate booth. And, you know it's uncomfortable for us in a lot of ways. It's probably annoying and uncomfortable for them in a lot of ways too. But, it's part of the adventure. It's part of, why we're here or doing what we do, which they made fun of several times, but it's okay. With that, within the first 13 minutes of the show, we had our first sale, which is always encouraging because some days it can go like 4 or 5 hours without sales at all. And a friend named Kevin Wayne Smith, who does some cool art, some Darkwing. He's a big Darkwing fan as well. Kevin came by and was our first sale of the weekend. He also brought us snacks, as Kevin has done. He did this last year as well. Did you Chef's Kiss? Yeah, Bella Chef's Kissed it. That he brought us by like pretzels with white chocolate and M&Ms and stuff. And let me be super real. We were hungry. And it was a long day of 9 hours on this show floor. And I don't know if we would have made it through that day without Kevin's pretzel mix. So, real talk. Kevin, you are a champion. And he checked in with us all weekend as well. So, really appreciate him and all he was doing for that. Really quickly, though, right after we had the Kevin experience, had our first and probably most negative experience for the whole weekend, as Bella chuckles at my pain and laughs at my sadness. So if you're familiar with our ampersand shirt, the one that's comics and Jesus and whatever, these two young ladies walked up, and one of their moms, or one of the girls' mother, just in a very loud, angry, yelly, aggressive voice, was like, "Why is Jesus here? Why is Jesus on this?" And she just like started being real aggressive. And I was trying to explain. I was like, "Well, ma'am, this is a booth." And she's like, every time I started to talk and try and explain, she just talked over me. And but then she finally saw what the rest of the booth was. She's like, "Oh, come here, Danny, quick. Come here, man. All right."
Ooh,
Ready?
fancy.
Top right. 3 things. What's been the best 3 parts of the show for you?
The best 3 parts, number 1 is being able to see all the people that I usually get to see, online. But now we're right here in person, man. It's good to be able to hug and tell my people that I love them. I'd say number 2 is selling books. I'm down with selling books and making money. We actually did really good this weekend. So
really good?
Really good this weekend. Good. Absolutely. So that's number 2. And then number 3, I got to spend yesterday with my kids, man. Father's Day was today. And then all 4 of my children came out with me yesterday and spent some time with me. And they had a good time. So that's it. That's it for me, man.
That's what's up.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you, man.
No problem. Anytime.
That is Danny Quick, author of all the Ace Blade books, creator of Ace Blade, over at Fourth Wall Press. Just a good dude. He was walking by the booth, so I shouted out to him. But the lady just like literally was just aggressive for no reason without even bothering to read the booth. And then once she actually read what the rest of the booth was, she was just angry that Jesus was included with the things that people love shirt. So it was weird. But Bella said something fun to me when it was over. Because one of the things that I always say when I'm talking to people about shows and cons is that there's usually like 4 to 5 reactions that always happen. There's somebody will see it and like not care, just indifference. Somebody will see it and not like it, but also not be verbal. Just like their body language will change, they'll walk away, whatever. They don't like it. They'll see somebody and be like, "Oh, well, that's cool," just kind of positive. Or they'll be like, "Oh, this is the greatest thing ever, and I love this." But usually she'd never actually seen the reaction where somebody's just like aggressive. And do you remember what you said to that?
I said that was the first time I actually saw that reaction. I've seen people cry and be happy, but never angry.
Yeah, so she's seen the sweet touching side, and we've seen that today. But like she hadn't seen the ugly side, and that's still not like the ugliest we've seen or anything like that. You know what? And I mentioned, I mentioned about being yelled at on Facebook, and Dustin Bartow, who's another artist vendor, said something. I was like, "Look, I got cheeks to turn all day. People can be upset, but I just want to make sure we're doing what we're supposed to do with it." Then you have friends that came by, and the people who will overpay for things. Like, I don't know if they want their name shouted out, but like somebody bought $15 worth of books and paid me $60. And, you know, I was like, you know, wanted to be obstinate about it, but, you know, I was like, I'm accept the blessing, because then when I realized how much parking was going to be the whole weekend, I'm like, you know what, I'm grateful for that. Then my friend Michelle Stewart, who has had some family going through cancer and medical issues as well. We've been talking for over about a year and a half now, that she wanted to do some shirts for my family, for what my family had been going through medically. And so she brought us all shirts that had a stitch on them that said Ohana, and on the back it says "Nobody Fights Alone." And she went out of her way to make those and to be supportive of that. So that was really cool, just to get a bag of these shirts supporting that. And my family feels loved and appreciated in that, and just really grateful for people like Michelle that do encourage us in that way. Also got to talk to another person who said that they were really encouraged by the podcast we did, where we had the Marissa Baker, who is a life coach, who was talking about divorce, and, you know, got to talk about the fact that podcast was helpful and encouraging, and also Ted Lasso. But it was just neat to hear feedback of how some of the stuff we do throughout the year actually impacts the day-to-day stuff. Yeah. But they're honestly, and I've got it in my notes also, it is, you know, not discouraging in a horrible way, but it is like, it's a thing when you look up and you have to like avert your eyes because you don't want to see a overly sexy Peggy Bundy or a foot fetish photo of Uma Thurman like directly across your booth from you. It's a whole thing. But there was a good day. My friend Isaiah Lunchbox came through with a really dope Andy Serkis cosplay. I dressed as Andy Serkis in his motion capture suit from Planet of the Apes, so that was just neat. Had some nice quiet downtime when lulls. Bella read the entire first Harry Potter book during her time here, and one of the books in the Promised Neverland manga, so that was a thing. I got a good amount accomplished in Zelda. Yeah, we knew our hotel was in a bad spot when we got to our hotel, but also we learned how much more of a bad spot we were in when we went to a Family Dollar to get snacks. Because the condition and the climate of your Family Dollar locally will tell you everything you need to know. And it told us we needed to go back to the hotel we stayed at last year. So yeah, we had Saturday morning kind of kicked off for us with somebody bringing by a copy of Book 2 to have signed. I don't know if you know, but like we don't carry Book 2 on the shelves here at shows anymore. Just can't afford to have prints of everything. So that was neat having that happen. Curious Cryptid on Instagram told us that the Pull List podcast is one of the reasons why he reads comic books. So that was also really encouraging. And then our Saturday Saturday was a busy day. It was very chock full. A lot went on. Bella watched cosplay contests. We got bagels from the Einstein Bagels up top, and I drank lots of coffee. It was a long day. It was a good day. But I'd say probably one of the highlights of our Saturday was that there was a young lady that as I'm sitting here playing Zelda, she comes to the booth next to us and she's like, "Hey, we're looking for an author." And I'd seen them walking around for a while. They were cosplaying as Hawkeye and Yelena. And as they were doing it, they're like, "Oh, there he is." And this young lady came up to tell us that she had been reading Faith and Fandom since she was in middle school, and she's a grown-ish woman now. She'd been reading Faith and Fandom since she was in middle school, and that she just enjoyed the book. She was encouraged by them, and that she brought her copy of book 8 to be signed. But then, through talking to her, I found out that she is the one that gave Ashley Cox at Fangirling Over Jesus a copy of one of my books that caused her to interact with me, that, in a way, like, shaped her whole, like, structure of what her ministry was going to be, so forth. So literally the generosity of one young lady helped create a whole establishment of another ministry, another organization, and just thought it was so cool that somebody sharing in one way could do so much. And I thought that was neat. How about you? How was Saturday for you?
It was really fun and cool. I watched this cosplay masquerade kind of thing, and I saw one of the rarest cosplays I've ever seen. I have never seen it. It was Seymour and Audrey 2 from Little Shop of Horrors, and it was really well done. Like, they made the whole plant on their hand and everything. And though Saturday was a very long day, it was fun.
And we also got one neat thing is we got a sticker from Matt Myers. We got the Matt Myers seal of approval. And so I'll throw a picture of that up in our pictures later. And with that, it was just a good experience. Saturday we left the show and we went to Bubba's Barbecue, which is somewhere that we tried to go last year, but it was closed from COVID. And for years, that was kind of my tradition, is that we were going to go to Bubba's Barbecue after HeroesCon. In fact, I booked the hotel that I booked for years in part of the fact that it was next to Bubba's and that I could walk there. And it's a quaint place, a lot of humor, a lot of personality, good food. And so it was disappointing for Bella last year and me that we didn't get to go, so we made that kind of a priority. We were going to go this year. And when we went, I warned her. I was like, look, you better be ready to talk. This guy's going to come talk to you, and it's going to be fun. So what were your overall impressions and experiences at Bubba's?
Well, that day I was feeling pretty awkward, and I did not want to talk to him. But the food was good, and it was kind of funny, kind of not funny.
Tell him some of the jokes or whatever you did.
I got coleslaw, and he walked up to me and he said, the coleslaw turns yellow when it's expired, but we tell people it's mustard and they believe us. And it was fun, and the food was good. I had not felt that at the time because I was trying not to talk to people, but it was fun to do.
How did you feel about the coleslaw?
Coleslaw was disgusting.
Why?
Because there's too much mustard and turns yellow when it's expired.
We are not mustard-based coleslaw people. We are KFC-based coleslaw people where it's sweet. And I forgot to tell her that they did mustard-based coleslaw. So that was the thing. We left there. We got back to the hotel room long enough just to turn around and say, oh, let's go watch The Flash. Because we finally found a movie theater near us. My GPS and my AMC app would only show me movies for like Fayetteville, even though we're in Charlotte. So we went and watched The Flash, and I'll talk about that later. But we did that, and we've been here since this morning. We packed up our hotel room, rolled out, and it's been a good day. And I always, just come with the understanding that a Sunday morning crowd without Geek Church means that a lot of the people that would be at our booth aren't going to be at our booth because they're at church themselves. We did get my friend Stephanie, who was one of my college students back in the day, came and hung out with us for a while, and she walked around with Bella and had a good time talking with her just about life and things. We had a young lady that is a fan of our booth, and she bought like 4 books and We talked about the fact that she really wanted to start doing something publicly to kind of be vocal about her faith for Jesus, and she'd never actually done that. And so she was going to use some of our stuff to kind of be part of that. So I think that's a huge win in itself, and we're really grateful for that. Also, just got to talk to a lot of people that just didn't know about the books and were encouraged by it. Prayed with some people. Just overall had a really solid experience with it. HeroesCon just feels like home, and it's one of those things that I don't want to miss out on. So I'm always grateful when that happens to be able to be here and to do this. The only negative or dread I've really had with the show is my own scheduling, and the fact that we have to drive to Orlando in like 12 hours. So I'm not a big fan of that, and that's all my own doing. But I am grateful for all the opportunities. One of the things, too, is being where we are in the room, we're not going to see all the cosplayers here. You probably saw more cosplayers over there than I did. Did you see somebody that looked like Urbosa from Zelda? Okay. That was somebody I was looking forward to seeing. I didn't get to see her. That's
She walked by us like 3 times.
not that I saw.
The girl just is Urbosa?
Yeah.
She looked like right in the middle of us.
Dude, I never saw her. But, it's what it is with that. But we had good experiences with people. It was great to see some of our Patreon supporters. We got a lot of comments as well on the Pull List podcast, and people just appreciating what Chris Poirier does. Overall, it's a great show. I should probably go ahead and start talking to them about signing up for next year. But yeah, just wanted to say thanks. So it was a great experience. I am grateful for the chance to be here, and the fact that this is, 10 years later, we get to be at this show and be doing all this stuff on our 10-year anniversary. Another cool thing was Saturday was actually the 10-year anniversary of me starting to write the books. So that was neat. I was grateful for that. But I just want to take a moment to say thank you to our Patreon supporters, because they help make this possible. So John J., Jay Sheed, Rebecca Godlove, Jason Bullock, Todd Turner, Candace Davis, Tesh, Skip, Zach, Adam, Sarah, Caleb, Jeanette, Mike, Jonathan, Jillian, Patrick, Jason, Christina, Chris, Alicia, Scott, and Ron. Thank you to all of our Patreon supporters for just giving to help make all these costs, make this possible. To Louis Serrano over at Rooted Chronicles, who is the author of the Samson graphic novel. Thank you for giving us copies of book 1 to give away. And to Froggy Always on Mercari and whatnot, as a Pokemon seller who gave us Pokemon cards to give away. Thank you for helping make this show possible and all things we're doing. I don't think I've got a con for the next little bit. Middle of June, middle of July somewhere. Keep you posted with that. But thank y'all for taking time to listen and for supporting. You can always read chapters from the books over at faithandfandom.org. And yeah. Any closing remarks, Bella?
No.
Good talk. See y'all later.